This film has been Marvel's black sheep for 17 years. And it was only until last year that the Incredible Hulk was even brought back into the fold of the MCU. But there's more to this story than what meets the eye. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Negative, and welcome back to the road to Doomsday. For those who are new, we're going through every MCU film to date before December, not to review them, but to understand what they were really about. Last episode, we covered Iron Man and talked about what it means to find purpose. Today, we're here to talk about The Incredible Hulk. This film isn't so much about delivering another Hulk movie, but rather a story about Bruce Banner. A story about control. Control over his physical freedom, over his relationship with others, over his mind, and over his emotions. Bruce is just trying to exist, trying to get rid of this condition, to cope, to deny, to live. Although I simply loved this movie for its action and fun as a kid, it's hard to ignore the real-world implications now as an adult. It highlights a struggle that I think we may all deal with in our own ways. So we open up with a montage about his origin. To find out he's been hiding out in Brazil and on the run from Ross and the government for the last 5 years. He's been without incident for almost half a year and has been training to keep a cap on his emotions. Every decision that Bruce makes is built around one goal: don't lose control. Maintaining a life on the run, avoiding trouble, and reaching out to a man named Mr. Blue, which we later find out is a man named Samuel Stearns who is helping to find a cure. Unfortunately, due to a small accident, his blood was traced back to the factory that he currently works at. Ross gathers a strike team in order to apprehend our hero, including a vetted soldier named Emil Blonsky. Emil and his team converge on Bruce's location, and a chase ensues. Of course, for the plot, Bruce's bully co-workers end up chasing him as well. Now everyone and their mothers are on him. This escalates into Bruce's first transformation. Both groups get clocked and folded, and by the end of it, Emil is astonished by this giant green creature. Anyways, the Hulk escapes. This opening act feels like a metaphor for a person who is tethered by their past and it finally catching up to them. The more you fight a mistake, the longer you hold on to it, the more control it has over you. And the truth is, you cannot run forever. So, entering Act 2, Bruce wakes up in Guatemala. Mind you, that's 25,000 miles away from Brazil, and that's 4,000 kilometers for the rest of the world. After hulking out once again, Bruce realizes he needs to go home. He needs to find a cure. In order to do so, he's going to need the research data from back when they first tested the Gamma Project. So, he returns to Culver University, the birthplace of the Hulk. Unfortunately, all of the data is gone. So, while trying to work a plan B, Bruce runs into his long-lost love, Betty Ross. And we learn that Betty actually kept a copy of all the research data before they wiped it. Don't we just love undeserved plot devices? At the same time, Ross and Emil are gearing up for round 2. Ross makes the executive decision to give Emil a dose of super soldier serum that he's been cooking up since his failure with the Hulk.
First sign of any side effect, we stop and you're off team until you straighten out.
By giving him such a low dose, he's hoping to tip the scales. We find out that Ross was tipped off by Betty's current boyfriend, and so Ross and his strike team managed to corner Bruce. And so, we finally get the real reveal of the Hulk. Man, the Hulk was tearing these dudes apart. And although he did better this time around, Emil gets cocky and gets turned into a poorly rendered CGI ragdoll. And as things keep moving and Ross just keeps pushing, things get out of hand and Betty almost gets killed. Pivoting to our motifs for a second. I feel like this section does a really great job of emphasizing the stress and the pressure any one person can fail to endure. I think it helps convey inevitability. Sometimes we want nothing more than to feel normal. In life, there are moments for people where we'd rather deny an ugly but integral part of ourselves. Push it away, ignore it, pretend as if it is not right underneath the surface. Truth is, you can't run or hide from internal conflict. And that's just Bruce. Ross and Emil's arcs are gaining some traction now as well. Ross's desperation and stubborn need for recreating the super soldier for the US is beginning to cloud his judgment. This incessant need is driving him further and further down this jaded and dangerous path. So much so, he's given Emil a small dosage of serum, all for the purpose of capturing and dissecting Bruce for his blood. Humans are selfish creatures in nature as it is. Ross is a cautionary tale about obsession and the reactions we have to wanting control. This applies to many people's lifestyles, relationships, and careers. The same can be said for Emil. Emil is knocking on the door of 40 years old.
I'm 56 years old.
Damn! I'm sorry.
And now, having this newfound infatuation with the Hulk and his unbelievable power, his hunger to feel young and efficient is growing, eventually acting more and more brash as he develops. Flowing into our third act, everybody is on their way to Harlem, New York. While Bruce and Betty meet with Dr. Stearns, Ross and a newly restored Emil are on their way to attain their asset. So we get this scene with Emil showing us that his serum is affecting him strangely. After having basically every bone in his body shattered, we begin to see a side effect, a mutation, if you will. I mean, Buddy is looking borderline vampiric, but this side effect and this feeling that the serum is giving him, it's put him in a craze.
How you feeling, man?
Like a monster.
But alas, everything comes to a head in Dr. Stern's office. Ross's team finally have Bruce tracked and trapped. And at this point, Emil is operating aggressively. You know, before he was a calm, cool, and collected shot caller, but now he's just brazenly ignoring Ross's orders and putting the operation in jeopardy. All Blonsky can think about is the Hulk.
Show him to me.
As a small side note, while all of this is happening, Bruce is undergoing a crucial test in order to cure his condition with Dr. Stearns. However, we're left unsure if this transfusion is a cure-all or just a temporary fix to the flare-up. After the test, we come to find out that Dr. Stearns has been testing and keeping tons and tons of blood samples, unbeknownst to Bruce, leaving him shocked and understandably upset, demanding that all of the blood gets destroyed and burned. Bruce gets a back shot by a trank. As he's dozing off, Emil is smacking him up and ends up putting his lights out. So Bruce and Betty are getting airlifted away with Ross, and at the same time, Emil is now forcing Dr. Stearns to inject him with some of Bruce's blood. And this causes Emil to transform into the Abomination. We also get a foreshadowing of the leader, but we'll get to that way later. Destroying cars, killing civilians. Blonsky has gone full tilt at this point. And with many, many lives at stake, Bruce is met with a choice. Bruce decides he's gonna leap out of the helicopter in hopes to induce the Hulk. Mind you, at this time we don't know if the cure is permanent or not. Thankfully, he survives. The Hulk and the Abomination get it on. So while they're scrapping it out, Ross is trying to shoot at Emil and ends up getting the chopper that he and Betty are in downed, putting both of them in jeopardy. But of course, Hulk smashes, saves their lives, saves Harlem, New York, and runs off into seclusion. With the climax and closing, I think that the film closes our couple of arcs pretty well. No matter how hard Bruce tries, life keeps forcing him to face what he's always been avoiding. And in that struggle, Dr. Banner realizes that it's not just Bruce, he is also the Hulk. And instead of fully denying this unwanted alter ego, he finally understands that he can put this to good use. When Bruce flung himself from a moving aerial vehicle, he was making a choice. In this moment, Bruce is either going to transform once more for the sake of humanity or die trying. He chose to take that step, finally embracing the rejected part of himself. His faith and acceptance, although a gamble, was rewarded. And while Bruce is reaping these rewards, our villains are facing some hard truths. After the Hulk saved his life and saved the city, Ross is forced to let Banner get away again. He's forced to accept that he just can't have what he wants. His anger and his misguided sense of duty has led him to destruction and disappointment. Now look, I'm not saying that having goals and ambitions are bad by any means. However, if you're too focused, too tunnel visioned, this self-induced blindness to reality can lead you to many issues and shortcomings. It's important for us as people to see outside ourselves, to see the bigger picture, which isn't always easy. Take Emil. Instead of understanding and accepting that his age and his career are on a decline, Blonsky tries to circumvent this inevitability. Emil's greed and gluttony for power has caused him to completely lose control. The Abomination is an amalgamation of feeling inferiority and being unable to accept who he is at this point in his life. Funnily enough, it kind of reminds me of someone having a midlife crisis. But do not let fear change you. Do not fall into temptation, or you could be next. Now, I'm not saying that the film did an amazing job of getting these lessons across, but it's all there if you're paying attention. Everyone has a version of the Hulk. And the question isn't about how to get rid of it. The question is whether or not you can live with it without losing yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to Iron Man 2, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next uploads. And I hope you enjoy this continuous road to Doomsday. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them down below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.